Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. Cole Anderson's hand shook, not from rage, but from the kind of clarity that only comes when illusions are ripped apart. For months, he had tried to make things work with Marissa, his fiancée. 32 years old, hardworking, with a small architecture firm that demanded his time and creativity. Cole believed in structure, order, building not just homes, but futures. Marissa, at 29, was different. A free spirit, a whirlwind, someone who thrived on attention. That attention often came from her best friend, Dylan, a man who seemed to believe Cole's home was his personal playground. Dylan had a key Marissa gave him without asking. He'd walk in unannounced, empty Cole's whiskey bottles, leave dirty dishes, and sometimes even crash on their couch after nights out. Cole endured it. For love. For peace. But love doesn't grow in soil where respect is absent. One night, Cole finally asked for boundaries. Marissa, we need our space. Can Dylan at least text before coming over? And I'd rather he not have his own key. Marissa's response wasn't relief or understanding. It was mockery. God, Cole, you're so controlling. Why are you so insecure? The next night, the mask slipped. Cole scrolled through his phone and froze. Marissa had posted a selfie, pouty lips, dramatic filter, with a caption, "Feeling so suffocated lately. Some people think love means a cage. OMG, I just need freedom." Hundreds of comments poured in. Yes, queen, live your life. Don't let him control you. You owe no man anything. Cole stared at the screen, not with anger, but with stillness. Her freedom was a public declaration, an insult carved into stone for friends and family to see. She hadn't just embarrassed him. She'd reduced their relationship to a performance where he played the villain. That night, while Marissa soaked in the validation of strangers, Cole began his quiet revenge. No yelling, no begging, just precision. He opened his laptop, canceled their lease renewal, paused the wedding venue reservation, and scheduled a move-out inspection. 20 minutes of calm, typing dismantled 2 years of shared life. The next morning, Marissa breezed in, tossing her purse on the counter like nothing had happened. Cole said nothing. He didn't argue. He didn't explain. The silence was sharper than words. 2 days later, the landlord's email arrived. Notice of non-renewal and pre-move-out inspection. Marissa's phone buzzed nonstop. Then came the screaming call. "What the hell did you do, Cole?" He answered with icy calm. "I gave you the freedom you wanted. You said you felt caged. I opened the door." The line went silent. But Cole knew this was just the opening act. Marissa wasn't used to silence. Cole's calmness unnerved her more than shouting ever could. The woman who thrived on attention, whether from him, her followers, or Dylan, was suddenly dealing with a man who no longer played the role of her anchor. The evening after the landlord's email, the door swung open without warning. Dylan strolled in like he owned the place, grinning, a smug confidence dripping from his posture. Cole didn't flinch. "Buddy," Dylan said, dropping onto Cole's armchair, "we need to talk." Cole didn't look up from the box he was labeling. "Do we?" "Yes," Dylan insisted, leaning forward. "Marissa is a wreck. You've done a number on her. Canceling the lease. The wedding. Man, you're throwing everything away over a little drama." Cole finally raised his eyes. His voice was steady, detached. "I didn't throw it away. She did." Dylan chuckled, trying to minimize it. "Come on, man, you know how she is. She's dramatic, but that's part of her charm. You're the stable one, Cole. You're supposed to keep things steady. You don't just blow up your life over one post." For months, Cole had been the steady one, the infrastructure, the quiet builder of their future. But in that moment, he saw it clearly. Marissa never wanted a partner. She wanted a stagehand, someone to quietly support her chaos while she performed for the world. "The anchor just cut the rope," Cole said flatly. He stood, walked to the door, and held it open. "And while we're at it, your key. Hand it over." The smugness drained from Dylan's face. He hesitated, then slowly pulled the key from his pocket and dropped it into Cole's hand. Cole closed the door behind him without another word. Marissa tried a different tactic the next day. Tears instead of arrogance. She sat on the couch, mascara smudged, whispering accusations. "You're ruining my life, Cole. We were supposed to get married. We were supposed to have everything. Why are you punishing me? Cole packed quietly, each box taped shut like a chapter ending. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't console her. For once, he let her feel the weight of her choices. You posted to the world that our relationship was a cage, he finally said, his tone calm but sharp. I believed you. Marissa's face twisted with frustration. That was venting. Everyone vents online. You're supposed to understand me, not take everything literally. Cole's reply cut through the air like a blade. I do understand you, Marissa. That's the problem. She broke down, sobbing louder, as if her tears could erase contracts, notices, and decisions already set in motion. But Cole wasn't the same man anymore. Something in him had hardened, not into cruelty, but into resolve. The weeks that followed revealed the cracks in Marissa's mask. She didn't look for another place. She didn't pack. Instead, she clung to denial, expecting Cole to cave. Every night, she'd watch him stack boxes neatly by the door, her fury growing with every sealed carton. But Cole wasn't just moving out. He was documenting everything. He took pictures of damages, receipts, even Marissa's posts. Because underneath the calm exterior, he was building something else. Not just freedom for himself, but a reckoning for her. The breaking point came 4 days before Cole's movers arrived. He walked into the apartment to find Marissa and Dylan drunk, laughing, and standing over something sacred. The scale model. It wasn't just a model. It was Cole's masterpiece, a miniature of the home they once dreamed of building together. Hours of detail, tiny furniture, landscape gardens, all gone. They had graffitied the walls, shoved a doll's heel through the roof, even placed a figurine of a dog on the master bed as if mocking him. And of course, they had posted it online, glasses raised in a cruel toast. Cole froze. His chest burned. For a moment, pain swallowed him whole. But then it shifted. His breath steadied. His heart hardened. He didn't yell. He didn't confront them. He simply took out his phone and documented everything. The vandalized model, their laughing faces, the caption. Out with the old, in with the new. Freedom unleashed. That night, while Marissa and Dylan slept off their laughter, Cole sat in the kitchen, scrolling through the photos. His plan was no longer just about walking away. It was about consequences, about holding them accountable in ways they never saw coming. The inspection came 2 days later. Marissa refused to attend. Cole walked through the apartment with the property manager, his notes clinical. Stains on the carpet, chips in a wall, damage that screamed carelessness. It'll come out of the deposit, the manager said. Cole nodded, understood, and in that moment, he already knew his next move. Small claims court, not for heartbreak, not for betrayal, but for dollars and cents, proof that her freedom wasn't free. That night, Cole sent Marissa a text. Movers arrive on the 25th, cleaning service on the 28th, lease ends on the 30th, make arrangements. Her reply came fast. Where am I supposed to go? Cole stared at the message for a long moment. Then he set the phone down, turned off the light, and let the silence answer for him. The day Cole's movers came, the apartment looked like 2 different worlds stitched together. On one side, neatly stacked boxes, labeled in his precise handwriting. Kitchen, fragile, office, books, bedroom, linens. On the other side, chaos. Marissa's belongings sprawled across the floor, clothes spilling out of hampers, wine glasses tipped on the coffee table, a couch stained with neglect. She sat there as the movers carried Cole's life away, her arms folded, eyes full of resentment. You're just going to leave me here, she snapped. Cole didn't stop taping the final box. You've had weeks, Marissa. I gave you the dates. I gave you the notice. You're heartless. He looked at her evenly. No, I'm done being your safety net. For the first time in years, Marissa had no control over him. She was used to tears swaying him, to dramatic scenes pulling him back in. But Cole wasn't looking at her like a lover or even a friend anymore, just someone who had become a stranger with too much access to his life. When the movers left, Cole paused at the door. He gave her one last look, his voice calm. Take care of yourself. Then he walked away. Days later, the landlord sent the final deposit breakdown. As expected, the damages totaled $750. Wine-stained carpet, chipped plaster, graffiti marks where the model had been destroyed. Cole paid it without protest, then quietly filed a claim against Marissa in small claims court. The amount, $375, her half of the damages. He didn't claim emotional pain. He didn't drag their relationship into it. He simply filed for the money she owed, supported by airtight evidence. The lease with both their signatures, the landlord's invoice, the deposit payment receipt showing he alone had fronted the money when they moved in, and the crown jewel. A printout of Marissa's mocking social media post with Dylan, wine glasses raised over the destruction. Cole didn't tell her. He didn't need to. The court summons would do that for him. 2 months later, the day arrived. The courthouse smelled of disinfectant and old paper, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Cole sat in his pressed shirt and blazer, documents neatly organized in a folder. He wasn't nervous. He was prepared. Then they entered. Marissa, her hair thrown into a messy bun, makeup smudged as if applied in a rush. Dylan walked beside her, trying too hard to look confident, but carrying the slouch of someone who hadn't faced responsibility in years. They smirked when they saw Cole sitting straight-backed, his papers in order. "You're seriously doing this?" Marissa hissed across the aisle, her voice low but dripping with contempt. "Over a few $100? You're pathetic." Cole didn't look at her. "You'll answer to the judge, not me." The bailiff called their case. They filed up to the front. The judge, a weary-looking woman in her 50s with steel-gray hair, adjusted her glasses. "All right, Mr. Anderson, Miss Bennett," she said, glancing down her notes. "This is a claim for $375, representing half of damages to a jointly leased apartment. Let's proceed." Cole laid out his case like an architect presenting blueprints. Logical, methodical, undeniable. He submitted the lease, the receipt showing he'd paid the deposit, the landlord's invoice. Finally, he slid the color printout of Marissa's post across the bench. The judge peered over her glasses. "Miss Bennett, is this you?" Marissa shifted in her seat. It was just a joke, a party post. He's being vindictive. The judge didn't blink. "Is it you?" "Yes, but..." And this was posted on the date the damage occurred. Marissa stammered. "I mean, it wasn't." The judge raised her hand, silencing her. "Facts only. You were on the lease. Damages occurred. Mr. Anderson has provided receipts and evidence. You admit this post is yours." Dylan tried to jump in. "Your Honor, Cole's just bitter. He's obsessed with making Marissa look bad." The judge's voice cut through him like a blade. "This isn't about emotions. It's about liability. Sit down." Cole remained calm, his face expressionless, while Marissa squirmed under the weight of facts she couldn't spin away. The verdict took less than 10 minutes. Judgment for the plaintiff. "Miss Bennett, you are ordered to reimburse Mr. Anderson in the amount of $375. Marissa's jaw dropped. Her face twisted with fury. Dylan muttered a curse under his breath. But Cole felt nothing except a quiet satisfaction. It wasn't the money. It was the principle. For once, she couldn't charm her way out. For once, Dylan's arrogance meant nothing. As the gavel struck, Cole stood, gathered his folder, and walked out. He didn't look back at Marissa's glare. He didn't need to. He had given her what she wanted, freedom, and now she was paying the price for it, dollar by dollar. After the case, word traveled fast. Dylan and Marissa moved in together, but their little arrangement unraveled within 2 months. Dylan, who once mocked Cole's boring stability, quickly discovered that bills weren't paid with charm. Their parties dried up, their laughter soured, and the weight of real life cracked their illusion of freedom. Cole heard bits through acquaintances, Marissa bouncing between friends' couches, vague social media posts about how life isn't fair, Dylan retreating back into his old habits. Meanwhile, Cole thrived. His new apartment was smaller, but it was peaceful. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. It was cleansing. He worked late nights at his drafting table, designing homes not just for clients, but for a future he now envisioned without compromise. Sometimes, late at night, he thought about the model house he had thrown away, desecrated beyond repair. It still hurt, a reminder of a dream that died. But it was also proof of how far he had come. He had given Marissa her freedom, but he had reclaimed something greater, his dignity, his self-respect, and that, he knew, was priceless. Cole's life settled into a rhythm that felt foreign at first. Quiet mornings with his own coffee pot, evenings spent sketching in peace, nights where sleep came without the weight of arguments or the anxiety of waiting for a door to creak open at 2 a.m. when Dylan decided to crash on the couch. Freedom, he realized, wasn't what Marissa had demanded. It was what he had earned. But the story didn't end with the court's verdict. That had simply been the line drawn in ink. The real aftermath played out in the months that followed. Mutual acquaintances began whispering stories. Dylan and Marissa had tried living together, but the reality was brutal. Dylan's fun persona dissolved when faced with rent, bills, and responsibility. He was no longer the charming chaos Marissa adored. He was just another liability. Their fights spilled into social media, cryptic posts about betrayal, sub-tweets about ungrateful partners. Cole didn't engage. He didn't even follow them anymore. But people sent him screenshots, as if to prove karma had finally taken root. Marissa's once flashy posts of wine glasses and nights out turned into vague laments. Some people change when life gets hard. You never really know who has your back until it's too late. It was almost laughable. She had mocked Cole for being steady, for building a future instead of living recklessly. And now, when she needed stability, Dylan was nowhere to be found. Cole never gloated publicly. He didn't need to. His revenge had never been about humiliation. It was about consequences. She had called their relationship a cage. He had opened the door and let her run. And in that freedom, she discovered the truth. Chaos doesn't pay bills. Attention doesn't buy groceries. Validation doesn't keep a roof over your head. One evening, months after the court ruling, Cole ran into an old mutual friend at a coffee shop. "Man, you should have seen her face in court," the friend said, chuckling. She thought she'd just sweet-talk the judge. Dylan sat there looking like a kicked puppy. Cole only smiled faintly. That part didn't matter. What mattered was the principle. The friend leaned in. "Well, she's not doing great. Couch surfing. Complaining online about being abandoned." Dylan bailed. Apparently, he couldn't handle splitting rent with her. Cole stirred his coffee, calm as ever. "Not my problem anymore." For once, the words weren't bitter. They were liberating. At home, Cole hung a new blueprint on his wall. Not a house he had designed for them, but of his own personal project. A home built for one. It symbolized not loneliness, but freedom on his own terms. He realized he didn't need someone like Marissa to validate his worth. He had proven to himself that strength wasn't about enduring chaos. It was about choosing peace. Sometimes, in quieter moments, he still felt the sting of betrayal. He remembered the model house they had ruined, the laughter over the pieces of his dream. But even that memory carried a strange clarity. Because if Marissa and Dylan had not destroyed it, he might have clung to the illusion a little longer. He might have continued carrying someone who never wanted to walk beside him. Instead, the destruction became his turning point. On the last page of his notebook, Cole wrote a line for himself. "Respect isn't begged for. It's enforced." Marissa had begged for freedom. He had given it to her, completely, entirely. And when she discovered freedom came with invoices, courts, and consequences, Cole was already gone, living a life built with his own steady hands. He didn't need her apology. He didn't need her regret. Watching her downfall from afar was enough. Because the truest revenge was never making her pay $375. It was showing her she had lost the one thing that couldn't be replaced. A man who would have given her the world, but who now belonged only to himself.